Hi there, and welcome to Backstage with Speaking Your Brand. We are going to take you behind the scenes as we do our year in review for 2021. I'm Carol Cox, founder and CEO of Speaking Your Brand. With me today is Diane Diaz, our lead speaking coach. Hi, Diane.
Hi, I'm back.
Yes, as always.
Yeah.
And we have been doing this now for the past couple of years where we take a look at the past year. We do our wins and celebrations, things that we tried that did not go as well as we had hoped, but we always are big at experimenting. Lessons we've learned during the year, and then what our strategic priorities are going to be for the next year. So I think this is a helpful template for those of you watching or listening to kind of reflect on your year as well, and maybe do the same different sections that we're doing here today. Because I like to go back and look at, say, last year's and then see, what were the things we had tried, what had worked well, what are some different things that we can do going forward. So if you're watching us here on LinkedIn, say hi to us in the comments. And as we go through these different sections, I would love to hear from you either live or at the replay, what your win is, like what your big win is for 2021, lessons you've learned, experiments you've tried, things like that. So go ahead and do it along with us. Diane, I cannot believe we are in December of 2021. 2020 was like the year that would never end. And 2021, I feel like went by in a blink of an eye.
This is why I like to refer to it as 2021, 2021, because it's like all wrapped into one to me in my brain.
It's extraordinary. And it's the holidays and here we are. And
Oh my
so
gosh.
I know, I can't believe it. Like we're already planning 2022, which seems way too early, but we are here.
Here we
All
are.
right. So let us know in the comments if you feel the same way. Like this year just
I'm
fly
sure
by.
everybody's.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, hi, CS. So nice to see you. Thanks for being here today. So let's start with, I always like to start with kind of our celebration. So what worked well, our wins, because I know I am not great at pausing to celebrate things that go well. I kind of just like move on to the next thing. I'm trying to get better about that. So we have a list of 10, and I encourage you all to also make a list of 10 things. You can do more than 10, but at least 10 things of what worked well for you. And this could be a combination of business and personal things. What are you celebrating this year? So I'm going to start with the list here. And it's a little bit in date order. Like I went back through my calendar and kind of looked through things. So the first thing is that in January of 2021, oh, so long ago.
Oh my gosh.
We did a virtual team retreat on Zoom, of course, because we weren't getting together in person at that time. And there were 9 of us on that virtual team retreat. It was so fun because we had obviously the 2 of us. We had our executive assistant, our marketing coordinator, our virtual assistant for the podcast. We had our coaches, and we were getting ready for the summit. We had a graphic designer, our project manager for the summit. And it was so fun to bring a group of women together, all working towards the same goals. And Diana, do you remember we had them share photos?
Oh, yes.
Of like a photo like that represented them, and then a photo of something they wanted to do in the future. Do you remember what yours were?
I can't remember what the photo that represented me. I think the photo that represented me was, hiking, because I have been doing a lot of hiking. And then the photo of what I wanted to do in the future was a beach vacation, which I did. So that's a nice thing.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes. I do not remember mine at all. So that's how long ago it was, but I can go back and look that up. So that was really fun. It was just so nice to kind of have that team support. And I'm going to come back to this though, under the lessons learned about this. So the team is fantastic, but there's a big lesson that I learned regarding that. So keep listening. All right. The second win is we have now enrolled 3 Thought Leader Academy groups. Our 4th one is starting in January of 2022. I am so excited. The women who have gone through and are currently going through the 3rd group, I am so impressed by all of them. They are doing incredible things, and they're exactly the type of women that we love to work with.
It is like the universe just drops them in our field of vision for us to know that they belong in the Thought Leader Academy. And then they totally deliver on how amazing that we think they are. They just surpass that. They're wonderful.
Yes. And, they say that what you put out is what you attract back. And I feel like, and this is another celebration of win, is I feel like we're putting out really great content that is true to us, is very authentic and genuine about how we think, what we believe, what our values are. And then that's attracting the kind of women who also think along those same lines and want those same things for themselves and their clients and their communities as well.
Yes, Carol, which I think is why it's so important. I'm a personal branding fanatic, and why I think it's so important to be authentic, even if it means some people don't like your content. Of course, everybody loves our content, but even if you're putting out content that won't appeal to everyone, it's not supposed to. But when you're authentic, this is what happens. You attract the right people to you, and that's what we've done.
Yes, and by doing that, they also get better results because
Yes.
they're the kind of people that we created our programs for. We created the Thought Leader Academy for because we know they're starting in the right place, and then we know
Yes.
we can take them along this journey to get them to where they need to go.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, for those of you who are watching, again, either live or in the replay, put in the comments what you're celebrating this year. What's one win? What's something that worked really well for you in your business? All right. So Diane and I tallied up and we realized that we worked with over 60 women this year in speaking your brand in some one-on-one capacity or in the Thought Leader Academy. So over 60 women. That's incredible.
Yes, I was blown away. When we were tallying this up, I was kind of blown away by that. It's just amazing. And I think it's a testament too to our brand, and also, like you said, putting out in the world what you want to get back. Because if I had to guess at the number, I don't know that I would have guessed 60 plus, but it's pretty amazing to me.
It is. And I like that, like the growth of speaking your brand has been steady year over year. And obviously
Yes.
bringing you on, Diane, a few years ago has been instrumental in
Aw,
allowing
thank
us
you.
to work with more women and being able to help more women as they shift into thought leadership. And so I'm so grateful for that
Oh, I'm
that you're
grateful
part of
for
this.
being here. Yes, thank you.
All right. Next one, number 4, is we hosted our second Brave Bold Beyond live virtual summit. The first one was October 2020, and then we did a second one April 1st of 2021. Another amazing group of women speakers delivering their TED style talks. We had our speaking coaches who helped them with that. We had our project manager again, who was fantastic. And it was, I think, so representative of our brand and our mission and what we do here.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how we could have topped the first summit, but we did. And it was, oh my gosh, so many tears, so many laughs. Incredible.
And I know I hear from so many women wondering if we're going to do the summit again. And the answer is maybe.
Right.
Or I can quote Alicia Florrick when she's from The Good Wife, and she says, all options are on the table.
Oh, I love that. Very
So
diplomatic.
that's my go-to response.
Yes, I
All
love
options
it.
are on the table. So if you're watching live or in the replay, let us know if you want to do us to do the summit again in 2022. If we get more demand, maybe we'll
Yes.
put ourselves through that. And do
Yes,
it
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yes.
I mean, we have everything documented, but still, it's a lot of work, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so well worth it. All right. Win number 5 is in May of this year. I was nominated as one of Orlando's Women
Yes,
of the Year.
congratulations.
And so that was a really just a total surprise. And it came
Mhm.
from one of the women who had spoken at our first summit in
Yes.
October. She ended up enrolling in the Thought Leader Academy. She is a podcast listener. I've actually known her here in Orlando for over
Mhm.
10 years from our days
Yeah.
in local politics together. And she was so kind and thoughtful to nominate me. And so that just shows the power of thought leadership and
Mhm.
putting yourself out there. And like Diane, like you said, having a strong personal brand and putting
Mhm.
out content that reflects that, because then other people will notice that.
Yes, yes, I love that. Congratulations on that. And I honestly, I I think it was well deserved and also well timed and just so appropriate in so many ways. And uh, congratulations on that recognition. I just think is very, very well deserved.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like I share that with you and
Oh,
everyone
thank
else who's
you.
part of the team. And it was in May of this year, they did a
Mhm.
small luncheon. Obviously,
Yes.
they didn't do like the big event that they normally would do in
Right.
non-COVID years. And
Mhm.
that was the first in-person kind of event luncheon that I had been to since before COVID started in March 2020. And it was nice, but it was weird.
Yes, actually, I remember seeing you post photos of that, and I thought, "That's very weird." But I was also thinking, "Oh, that's really cool." So it must have been just so many different mixed emotions about that.
Yes, and luckily I had been vaccinated in March, and by the
Yes,
time this
yes.
was May, like, you're
Mhm.
still like, there's a little
Like, I don't
trepidation, but,
know. Yeah.
yeah, but I still felt good about it.
Yeah.
All right, and so then, win number 6 was in September of this year. I did an in-person speaking engagement at
Yes,
Keynote,
you
and that
did.
was the first one since before COVID. So, I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to do that. Obviously, you were Diane Diane, some of our clients who live in Orlando were there, and it was so nice to kind of see everyone in person. It also felt weird to be back in person, and it was exhausting. Like, I feel like my
Yes.
capacity for in-person events, it's like being an athlete. I feel like I need to like retrain to go to
Yes.
in-person events.
Yes. Yes. You need to train. You need to peak at the right time, and then you need rest time afterwards.
Yes, it's so true. I have a couple of in-person speaking engagements in January, and I feel like I need like an athletic plan.
Yes. Yes, you do. You do. I'll create a triathlon training plan for you, and it's a talkathlon.
Yes, that's perfect. Definitely will do that. All right. So, win number 7 was that I had an opportunity to do a training for a very large multinational corporation. This was in August of this year, all about using storytelling in business. And it was a really fun training to put together. It was really well received, and it's something that I think we'll do more of, and we'll pitch more companies on in 2022, because it's something that I'm seeing the need for sure in the marketplace for this. And I think that we have a unique angle on it and can really and do something different with them.
Yes, I love that.
So that was fun. Win number 8 is that we recently celebrated 250 episodes of the Speaking Your Brand podcast. I mean, if you had told me when I started that it would be at 250 episodes, like week after week, that's a lot of content.
That is a lot of content. A lot. Yes. So it's been how many years?
So this coming February 2022 will be 5 years.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I say this often, that I identify as a podcaster as much as anything else, because when you do this every single week, it always is at the forefront of my mind. Yes. What guests to bring on, what clients to bring on, what topics, what series to do. And so I would love to hear from you all watching or listening. If there's any kind of requests that you have for future guests or topics for the Speaking Your Brand podcast, let me know. All right. And let's see, celebration number 9, as far as work worked, Diane and I did a lot of different types of visibility this year. Obviously, vast majority of it online because of COVID. I participated in a few online summits. And so that was great because it brought people into the Speaking Your Brand community from other audiences who had never heard of us before. I spoke to different online groups, other entrepreneurs communities. So that was really good. Lots and lots of podcast interviews. Diane, I know you did podcast interviews too.
Yeah, lots going on. And I think I spoke to a couple of smaller groups. So a wide variety, all of it virtual for me.
Yeah, all but one for virtual for me. And I really anticipate that's going to be a lot for most of us going forward. A lot of what we do will continue to be virtual, just because a lot of events and companies realize the value of and the ease of doing virtual.
Yes.
So think, for those of you who are listening or watching, when you put together your list of what worked in celebrations, think about the different types of visibility you did and what worked well as far as attracting other opportunities, attracting clients, and so on. And then celebration number 10 is on the personal front, is finally close on a house after very long journey. Yes, very, very long journey. Real estate market was very tough because of COVID. As those of you maybe who have been in this real estate market over the past year and a half, but very, very happy to be here, and still working on getting all the furniture.
So as a little example of that, I ordered a recliner in February of 2020, and I still don't have it. I'm sorry, of 2021, still don't have it. So here we are. Maybe, I probably could have built my own recliner by now, but that's okay.
Yeah, you're going to be going on a year since you ordered that. And I wanted you to put that under the celebrations column.
Yes, I know. I can't. I know I don't have it. I keep calling them, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. Oh my God. At first I was joking with them about like, I'm waiting for a baby to be born because it was going to be 9 months. Well, now we're looking at more than 9 months. I'm like, come on. This is ridiculous.
It is.
Well, good luck with your furniture, Carol.
I know. Maybe Christmas. Maybe you'll get it for Christmas.
I think you should be specific. 2022?
Yes. Totally. All right. So that was our top 10 list of our celebrations, what worked well. So again, you make your list of 10, pop a couple of them here into the comments so that we know we can celebrate with you. All right, let's get to the section on what didn't work well. So as I said, I'm very big at experimenting. I'm always willing to try things and kind of just see what happens, because you don't know. Obviously mindful of the time and effort and energy it takes. You don't want to be doing 1,000 different things at one time. So the first thing, as far as what didn't work, or I could say like what could be improved, is definitely engagement on social media.
Mm.
So
Oh,
I like
social
to say
media.
I live 99% of my life in my head. I'm happy doing that. I am an introvert who has social capabilities.
Same, same. That's why we get along so well. Same.
Right, exactly. But I am not the type of person who likes to live their life on Instagram stories or reels. And God bless you, those of you who do, more
Go
power
for
to
it.
you. And if you
Yes.
enjoy it, keep doing it. Definitely not for me. So, we've been definitely doing much more of a shift this year to focus much more on LinkedIn, very little on Instagram. I mean, I post podcast episodes on Instagram, but that's pretty much about it. And
Yeah.
so I think that we'll be doing more on LinkedIn. And also, and I have an episode coming up on the Speaking Your Brand podcast all about social media, particularly how to use LinkedIn effectively as entrepreneurs and thought leaders and content creators. So so keep posted for that. Interestingly, I think it was last week or so, there's a cosmetics kind of skincare company called Lush,
Yeah.
Lush, and I have been to their store in New York City, and they have stores in different parts of the country. They put an announcement on that they're stopping social media use
Oh.
because of the harm it does,
Oh, yes.
especially to teen girls. So
Mhm.
there's reports that, Facebook had done these studies that they tried to hide, but then got leaked, that of all
Yes.
the harm that's done to especially teenage girls on
Mhm.
Instagram, but then on Facebook as well. So I think we're going to see a lot more companies deciding that, number one, they don't want to participate and things like that. But number two, they're realizing, I mean, this is also a business decision. They
Yes, of
probably
course.
recognize that the ROI for them is not there, and they would rather focus in other places.
Yes, for sure. I think, it's if that's the case with a large company like that, I think then that just begs the question for small businesses, how much time can you realistically or should realistically put into your social media efforts? Again, not saying if you're great at it, you shouldn't do it, but like for us, I think that's where it's like, well, what are we doing? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like us presenting to other people's groups, whether in person or
Yes.
online, or being guests on podcasts, and then doing what we do on LinkedIn is definitely the much more effective for that.
And more enjoyable for us.
Yes, for sure. Because that
Yeah.
is a filter,
Yeah, for
question.
sure.
Is it enjoyable for you?
Mhm.
All right. I want to say congratulations to CS, because she said her
Yes.
big win is publishing her interactive handbook called Kisses for Awesome Animals. Oh my gosh. And she has
I
an
love
acronym.
that.
So KISS stands for Kids Involved in Saving Species. She
Aw,
says, I'm now recording videos to turn it into an online project based program.
nice.
How fun.
Congratulations.
That's great, CS. And hi, Diana. So nice to see you here. If you want, Diana, if you want to let us know in the comments what your win is, one of your wins for 2021, either business or personal, you can let us know. All right. So that was number one on what didn't work well, or what could have worked better, is engagement on social media.
Mhm.
The second thing is the LinkedIn lives, like we're doing right now. So we have been doing them kind of as interviews, very much like the
Mhm.
podcast conversations that we do. So 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so. And I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
And the reason we started doing these LinkedIn lives is because I wanted us to put out more video content. Obviously, we have the
Mhm.
podcast, it's audio content, but we're speakers and we
Right.
want to put our faces out there more as well. But I get the sense that LinkedIn, and I think about my own usage on the
Yeah.
LinkedIn platform. I'm probably not going to sit and watch a 30 or 45-minute conversation on LinkedIn, but you should continue listening to this one.
Don't
I
go
mean, or just don't
anywhere.
go anywhere. Just like listen in the background. But I recognize that's probably not the best
Yeah.
use of LinkedIn Live. Now, I think for maybe other types of content, it might work well. Like for live breaking news, I see this
Yes.
with
Mhm.
some channels, or like the mortgage industry would do some
Mhm.
LinkedIn lives based on what's going on. So I can kind of see maybe longer formats for those types of
Right.
things could work. LinkedIn lives, we're going to kind of see for next year what we want to do with it. Probably shorter videos, but then
Mm.
I'm thinking, then they don't need to be live. They can just be
Right.
pre-recorded if they're like 3
Mhm.
or 4 minutes long. So I would love to hear from those of you who, again, watching live or in the replay. How do you like the LinkedIn lives? Do you watch them? Do you prefer longer, shorter? What type of content? So we
Yes,
will
and
see
I
on
think,
that.
Carol, I think that goes
Mm.
along a little bit with when you and I had sort of evaluated what types of posts on LinkedIn were getting the most engagement, and we found that it wasn't the businessy ones, it was really the ones that were personal. So I made a post about I was on a walk and kind of what that does for my brain as far as creativity goes, and it just got a bunch of views and comments, and so, I think then that begs the question, what how do you use LinkedIn Live? What's the best way to use it, if at all? So I think it's a good idea to always look at that. Goes back to that, like, how are you using social media? Is it effective? Is it worth your time and all of that?
Exactly. And so one of the things that when women go through our Thought Leader Academy is we have them select what their thought leadership container is going to
Yes.
be. And a container could be a podcast, like a weekly ongoing podcast, a capsule podcast, a podcast series on their existing podcast that they already have one. Could be an event that they host,
Mhm.
whether online or in person. It could be an initiative. Or we also encourage them, if they don't want to do a podcast, because podcasting is a lot of production, they
Yep.
can do a LinkedIn Live because it's
Mhm.
very easy to just
Yes.
click go live and click end. And I will say this, for those of you who are speakers or want to get more comfortable doing
Yes.
video and speaking on the fly, interviewing people, doing it solo, do LinkedIn Lives, if for nothing else, just for yourself.
Yes, it is a really great platform for, like you said, for getting comfortable, practicing how you interact with someone else or how you talk on video, how you feel about how you sound and look and appear on video. It's just a really great way to use that tool. So I wholeheartedly agree with that.
And Diane, you and I have been doing some type of live video, like webinars, for nearly 13
Oh,
years
yes.
now.
Uh-huh.
And like every single week, we do them in the classes we teach at the university.
Yes.
We do them for speaking your brand. And
Mhm.
so, for like literally for me to show up here today and click go live, I have zero thought. I mean, obviously I
Yes.
prepare, but I have zero
Right.
nerves or zero kind of like hesitations or anticipations about it. And that's what I want for you all, to get
Yes.
to the point where you can just show up in video. Obviously, like brush your hair if you want to, but you
Right,
can just show
right.
up and you can click go live and then you don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
All right. So then that was so number 3 on the what didn't work or what could work better would be growing the email list. So
Mm.
again, like this is the backstage with speaking your brand. I
Mhm,
take you
mhm.
behind the scenes. So obviously growing our email list is important because we want to have contact with the people who are interested in us that we own, that we don't have to work through algorithms on LinkedIn or Instagram to get in touch with them. And
Yes.
so trying to figure out like what are attractive lead magnets? Why does someone want to get on the email list in the first place? But then why does someone want to stay on the email list? We know
Mhm.
there's so much content out there. And so I like to think of the same thing, like, why do I stay on someone's email list versus why do I unsubscribe? And so for a long time, we've been doing our weekly email newsletter, which has a note from me, the podcast episode of the week, our LinkedIn live show, some client success stories or podcasts that one of us has been on. And it's kind of been like a digest, like a weekly
Right.
digest. And it looks pretty, but I know it's probably not as effective because people probably scan it and then they move
Mm.
on with the day. So I just did a podcast episode all about email. So go back and actually, well, as of this LinkedIn Live, it will air tomorrow, December 7th. If you're listening to this on the podcast, it will have been the previous episode on the podcast all about email. And so what I'm have decided to shift to is, instead of one weekly newsletter, is sending emails 2 or 3 times a week
Mhm.
and making each email self-contained of just whatever is the topic, and then with one link and one call to action, which is so hard for me because I want to do it all in one email.
But it's experimentation. We're gonna experiment
Yes.
and see how it goes.
Yes, and I want to make the emails useful for you
Yes.
all and enjoyable to read, and kind of where you learn something, but then also kind of just feel like that connection with us as speaking
Yes.
your brand. All right, so that is the what didn't work. Now, here are the lessons. I have 5 lessons I'm taking away from this year. Now, I mentioned at the top that what worked celebration is, we had our virtual team retreat in January. We had 9 people on it. It was great. We were gearing up for our second summit, so we had a lot of kind of people in place and things to do. And so that was quarter 1, because the summit was April 1st.
Mhm.
And I felt so disconnected from the
Mm.
business and so disconnected from the event, the summit that was coming up. And I really thought about this really hard after April 1st, because obviously that's not the way that I want to feel. And it
Mhm.
was because I felt like I had delegated too much, like the things that I should have held on to. And the lesson here is, just because you hear other people or other entrepreneurs say you should delegate certain things, that doesn't mean that you should delegate them. So we
Right.
hear a lot like delegate your marketing, delegate your email writing, delegate your graphic design, delegate all of these different things. And that could be right for you, but it may not. And for me, what I realized is that I could delegate all the email writing and like the writing of the show notes for the podcast, But number one, I enjoy it. Number two, it helps me to formulate my ideas and my thoughts. And number three, I am the marketing voice of speaking your brand. So when I
Yes.
gave all that up, again, the team did a fantastic job with it. When I gave all that up, I suddenly felt like, well, what am I doing here?
Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to think about as a business owner why you're doing this business, right? So if you give away all that work and delegate all that work and then you're not finding the joy like that, you don't have a business just to not enjoy it. You have it to enjoy it. So then you have to do the things that bring you joy, right?
Right. I hear
Like
other
Marie Kondo.
yes, yes. And I hear other entrepreneurs say, like, create your group programs and then get other coaches to facilitate the calls and the office
Mm,
hours. And yes, like Diane, you can facilitate our calls, but I also know, like, I love doing that. I love having showing up for the group calls and getting to know the women who are in our programs. And so I, quote unquote, could delegate all of it, but I don't know why I would want to at this point.
but I think too, as the the brand of speaking your brand, you Carol are the voice of the brand, as you said. And I think to remove yourself from that, you know, could they still be amazing? Sure, but I feel like the clients would want Carol involved, right? So yeah, we're both involved, but they
Mhm.
definitely want you involved. So I think to remove yourself from that, not only would it not be enjoyable for you, but I
Yeah.
think they would not necessarily get out of it what they're expecting to, which is your point of view on things.
That's true. Well, thank you, Diane. But
Yes. It's true, it's
Uh,
true.
all right. So I'm looking at my list. Okay. So second lesson, this is kind of related, is as an entrepreneur, if you're creating programs or packages or products for your clients, think about what will best serve your clients,
Yes,
not necessarily what best serves you or your business. And I
yes,
know that, and I'm not saying like grind yourself into the ground and like
right.
work 50 hours a week and like, do it all and like, basically cause yourself to burn out. That's not what I'm saying as far as doing things for your clients. But I have, I've run group programs and speaking your brand since 2016. So I
Mhm,
didn't, and so all the years. And then the Thought Leader Academy, we are now on our third group. And I analyze what different group programs, we've structured them differently, different lengths of time, the number of calls, the curriculum, all of that. And I see which ones get the best results and what combinations of things tend to get our clients the best outcomes. And what I have found is that it's weekly calls instead of every other week, because they create that community with each other and with us much
mhm,
quicker when it's weekly. We do 4 months because I felt like 3 months was not enough time. And
mhm.
4 months seems doable to get what they need to out of it. The other thing is that it's a structured curriculum. So they have a place to start and then they have a graduation at the
Right.
end, and we're taking them along the journey. And so I know a lot of people do things very, very different. And again, you have to do what works best for you and for your clients. But this is what I see. And I would love to find a way for the Thought Leader Academy to be ongoing enrollment where people
Mhm.
can enroll any month of the year instead of waiting for the next start date. I haven't figured out how to do that because I like the structured curriculum. I like the group starting and ending together.
Mhm.
And perhaps I'll find a way to do it. And but at this point, that is what feels best for us and what feels best for the clients.
Yes.
So that remains to be seen. That's why our next Thought Leader Academy enrollment start date is in January of 2022. And you can get all the details and apply by going to speakingyourbrand.com/academy. Again, the speakingyourbrand.com/academy. The other thing is that what we decided to do with the Thought Leader Academy, then the third group, is add the option for clients to do a VIP day with one of us. So in the
Mhm.
prior ones, they got one-on-one coaching calls with us, an hour long. But now we gave them the option of the VIP day, because the more VIP days we do, and by this point, I've done dozens of them. I don't even know how many I've done over the years. We realize how impactful they are to get the talk done for the client and give them that momentum and sense of completion so that they can go to the next step. And so I'm
Yes.
really glad about having this VIP day option with the Thought Leader Academy. And we really are focusing for clients who don't enroll in the Thought Leader Academy to do the VIP days with them. And we're basically dropping the longer one-on-one coaching packages that we used to have because we're finding that they're losing momentum in that
Yeah.
process.
Yes, I love that because, I noticed that the VIP day, so a woman will start in the Thought Leader Academy and possibly come in with, needing more clarity. I don't know what my thought leadership message is going to be. How does this even turn into a talk? And they do the preliminary work, the homework, and all that stuff. And then we have the VIP day, and there are so many ahas, so much clarity. It's almost like a brick of clarity hits them in the head, and then all of a sudden they really are laser focused on, what they do, who they help, how to package it up, how to talk about it. It's amazing to see that unfold. So I think that VIP days have been integral to that.
And I know so many clients wonder, like, is it really possible to get their signature talk done in a half of a day? And the answer is
Yes.
unequivocally yes. We have done so many of these, and they always get done because we know exactly what we need to get from them in order to get it on the board.
Yes, we never have a situation where ideas don't unfold and then turn into some package of content and a talk. That never happens.
Yes. Yeah. Because we have the experience now
Yes.
to do it. All right. So that was lesson number 2 is creating the programs that will best serve our clients. Lesson number 3 is really, I've seen it this year, the importance of holding a safe container for our clients, because when you have this trusted container for them, it then lends itself to intimacy and vulnerability. And we've seen this with the women who have continued after the Thought Leader Academy into the next program that they're eligible to enroll into. So they know us really well by then. Oftentimes they went to the Thought Leader Academy with each other, so they know each other, and they have built this trusted space, and they really come to those calls being willing to talk about things that they're struggling with, that may feel uncomfortable, but the breakthroughs that they have by being vulnerable with us and each other has been extraordinary.
Yes, and watching a woman get vulnerable during a group call, and then just the women that jump in to support her. I mean, not just us, but the other members of the group jumping in with support or, resources or a different way of looking at it. It's so not only heartwarming, but just so it just really lights up my soul to see this happen. And that is one of the biggest things for me about the Thought Leader Academy is the community. Yeah, we work on your talk and all your thought leader and visibility and all of that, but it's the community that builds around that is so, I think, business changing and perspective changing for the women in the group.
Yes, you really see the love and care that they have for each other. And I had a consult call with a woman last week who's interested in our next Thought Leader Academy, and she asked me, to compare to some of these other speaker programs that are out there. Yes, like we are not the only public speaking coaches. No, there's just many, many out there, and that's great. And I said, really for us, it's about, we keep our groups small. Thought Leader Academy groups are around 12 women. So we really get to know you. You get to know each other. You have this community of supportive women. It's all women entrepreneurs. And our focus is really around your thought leadership idea and your message and your signature talk, and helping you with that clarity and confidence. And there are other programs out there. I'm sure they're good at what they do, but it's just it's a different purpose, and it's a different vibe.
Yes.
All right. So number 4 for lessons is really that when you put your mission into action, you're going to get the recognition and the personal fulfillment from doing that. So what I mean, like our mission here at Speaking Your Brand is to champion and amplify diverse women's voices, so that we know that more women out there speaking up, speaking out, talking about the issues that matter to them is going to impact change and affect change. We've done that through our summits. We do that through our podcast content, through our Choosing Women's Voices challenge. And we've seen the recognition and then the personal fulfillment that comes back to that. So if you have a mission in your business, put it into action. Don't just have it as words, on a document somewhere. And if you don't have a mission for your business, I know a lot of times people struggle with that. There is something in there related to what matters to you and probably what has mattered to you for a very long time. And you can find a way to connect it to what you do in your business. It doesn't have to be a perfect one-to-one connection, but there is a connection there.
Yes.
All right. And then number 5 for lessons learned. So my word for the year is effortless. Not that things don't create effort. I mean, obviously, we have to do things that require work. Effortless does not mean you're not working.
Effort-free. Right.
Right. Yes. But also it's accepting that things can be effortless. And I think this is really the lesson, is that as a high achieving woman, back from when I was in school, college,
Mhm.
grad school, all the way through all the businesses that I've had, like it's go, 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 next achievement, next accomplishment, next thing to do. And it's always been not about the struggle, but things have felt for a lot of times like a struggle. And I'm like, no, no, no. Things can be effortless, and you can still recognize the work that went in and the foundation that has been paved
Mhm.
over time to make things effortless.
Yes, yes. I love that.
And so this is what we tell our Thought Leader Academy clients when they pick their thought leadership container is
Mhm.
choose something that feels frictionless to you.
Yes.
If doing a podcast feels like the last thing in the world you would want to do, then don't do it.
Right.
Do the LinkedIn Live or do an event. Likewise, if you don't want to manage an event or host an event, then don't pick that.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Especially at first, like do the thing that's
Yeah.
that's the least amount of effortless or frictionless first. All right, we're going to get into our what's next for 2022. Before I do that, let me give a shout out to Diane Diaz, who is on LinkedIn Live right now. And she said her win is starting the Quality During Design podcast and a website of the same name. Well,
Wonderful.
congrats, Diana, on your podcast. And she is having success with her podcast. And she's doing also a long thought of idea of outreach to help product designers make safe, dependable products that are easy to use. And she's
Oh,
working on a
wonderful.
membership. That is awesome, Diana.
Yay. Good
Congratulations.
for you.
And then CS said that the VIP day that she did with me was life changing. Oh, she said you were able to help me identify the dream direction my soul and heart wanted to go in. It
Oh,
was
I
so
love that.
nice to release the
Oh,
should do
oh,
in business. She says, I also still
yes.
have the signature talk poster board hanging
Oh,
in my office. So
I
CS
love that.
has this incredible RV that has like her logo and branded with the animals all over it. And she drove down from Vermont, where she lives, to Orlando, where I live. This was back, I think it was in 2017.
Oh,
She
wow.
drove down here. We did a VIP day together in person with her
Aw,
board, and it was so fun to meet her in person and to do that. So
nice.
nice to see you, CS.
Well done, CS.
All right, what's next for 2022? So these are our strategic priorities, and they are the same as they were for 2021 as far as the overall strategic priorities, and then which is the why, and then the what,
Mhm.
the actual what shifts from year to year.
Right.
So number one is for us to show up consistently and boldly as thought leaders. And the way that we're doing that is through the podcast, the different topics and series that we'll cover in 2022, speaking, whether it's in-person speaking, also virtual speaking, we'll continue to do that.
Yep.
And I am working right now on my book proposal for my book. So I will be looking for an agent, and then the agent will be looking to shop it to a publisher. I'm doing that right now. And we actually have a podcast episode coming out in a couple of weeks with my book coach, Tiffany Hawk, all about the book, what makes a book unique and why you would want to write a book. So that
Mm,
is coming
exciting.
along. Excited about that. Number two for strategic priorities is to deepen the relationships we have and transformation for our clients. This is something that's always on the top of our mind. How can we make our programs better? How can we make what the clients do with us better? And so we have, of course, our Thought Leader Academy. The next group starts in January, and applications are open now. We have a new program, which is after you graduate from the Thought Leader Academy or have worked with us in one-on-one, you can join our Catalyst Collective. So this is the advanced level where we're really digging into kind of some of the deeper aspects of public speaking and thought leadership. We are also planning a client retreat in March here in Orlando, where we live. So that is in progress. And that's for clients who have worked with us in any capacity or in any time period over the years.
Mhm.
And then we also are going to start doing virtual roundtables so that we can reach out
Yes.
to women that we meet on LinkedIn or podcast listeners or what have you, and come together on Zoom once a month in a small group, 3 or 4 people, and do those so that we can, again, deepen those relationships with
Yes.
more women. And then number 3 for strategic priorities is we want to always make sure that we are working to develop an inclusive coaching and leadership culture. And so that can include training for us,
Mhm.
for Diane and myself, as well as other team members. We are also, and I'm also in the process of chatting with a woman to come on, to bring her on in a capacity around client experience and community building. So as an introvert, I am not like a group user. We have a Mighty Networks group that we have for our clients, and it's a great, resource for them when they want to ask questions, or I post resources for them. But I am not the type of person every day who's going in like, tell me your favorite cartoon character. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I mean, obviously more serious and relevant
Yeah,
things
yeah.
for that, but the community building is something that's important to me. We do it with our Zoom calls, when we're
Mhm.
live with our clients, but as far as like finding ways to engage with them outside of the Zoom calls. So we want to do that. And then we also want to make sure to continue to showcase a diversity of women on
Yes.
the Speaking Your Brand podcast and in the various content and events that we do.
Yes. I love that.
All right, Diane. So what are you looking forward to for 2022?
Well, first thing I'm looking forward to is in-person speaking. I feel very rusty. I feel like I'm starting from square one. I feel like speaking what? Yeah, I just feel like a newbie, and I really want to get out there and start doing that. I'm in conjunction with that. I'm looking forward to connecting with women and networking with them. And I don't say networking in the icky sales way, but I'm like just networking, just like meeting new women in person because I feel like I haven't been out I haven't in almost 2 years, right? So I'm really looking forward to getting back to that. And I'm looking forward to doing those roundtables because I think it'll be so much fun to get a small group of women together and share with one another. And I love making new connections between other women and, helping them discover what each other's strengths are and potentially, business, maybe clients or, synergies that they have together or whatever. I love connecting people together. So I'm really looking forward to those roundtables.
Yes, me too. And totally with you on feeling rusty with in-person
Oof, my
speaking or
goodness.
just even going to
Just
events in
yeah, just
person.
being outside my apartment. I'm rusty on that.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely looking forward to
Yeah.
like building that muscle back
Yes.
up. And so for those of you who are also feeling rusty, you are far from alone. This is what our Thought Leader Academy is for
Yes.
to kind of, and this is why I talked to so many women who enrolled this year. This is what they said. Like they feel rusty. They feel like they need like the supportive container to kind of help them with
Yes.
the discipline and the accountability to put themselves out there because we know that public speaking, whether it's in person or online, is truly one of the fastest ways
Mhm.
to be recognized for what you do as an expert, but also as a thought leader.
Mhm.
Public speaking is so important. And it's also important as women that we are there on stages, again, whether virtual or in person, in the media, and that we're showing up so that we can make sure that we are represented and that our voices are being heard.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you've been here on LinkedIn, again, let us know in the comments, say hi. And if you've been listening on the Speaking Your Brand podcast, thank you so much for being a listener. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.